Joining us on the phone now is Eric Ham, who born and raised in the city of Detroit. I think a graduate of maybe Country Day and University of Michigan, but makes his living in Washington, D.C., writing for The Hill, and also specializes in foreign policy and covering all those pertinent issues. Eric, how are you?
I'm great, and don't forget about the book, The GOP Civil War.
That's right, his book he's written on the GOP Civil War, absolutely. Yeah. Dave Llewellyn is here with us in the studio.
Eric, is that the Civil War that's ongoing now or previous Civil Wars?
That's the Civil War that's going on right now. It's called the GOP Civil War, inside the battle for the soul of the Republican Party, and we're actually seeing it play out right now.
Yes, we are.
Pretty amazing.
Well, I don't know if you heard of our numbers, 17 precincts reporting so far. John Kasich is having a good night so far.
Well, actually, John Kasich needs to have a better night, because I think Michigan is actually a preview of what we could see in Ohio. And I think if John Kasich, much like Marco Rubio, if they continue, or if they plan to stay in this race, they both need to win their respective home states. Right now, Marco Rubio is actually in single digits, and yes, John Kasich is in second place, but I think he needs a win here to just kind of, just for momentum purposes going into Ohio, because last polls were actually showing he was still down by 5 points in the state of Ohio.
Eric, you've written this book about the GOP war, and as Dave said, we seem to be watching it, with our own eyes right now. Regardless of who comes out of this as the front runner and leading the Republicans in November, will they be so damaged by all of this back and forth, that it won't make a difference which Democrat they're running against?
I think a lot of it will depend on who the actual nominee is. Right now, as we're witnessing, much of the GOP establishment is clearly not standing with Donald Trump, who is, without a question, the front runner right now. I mean, if you look at just the number of primary races that have been held so far, he's won in the South, he's won in the North, and he's won handily in many of these contests. Even right now, he's only ahead by less than 100 delegates based on the latest count from Super Saturday. But I do believe that the party right now is very much fractured, and I think we're looking at the two viable candidates who will be the nominee would be either Donald Trump or Ted Cruz. And as we know about Ted Cruz, Ted Cruz is very unpopular with many of his own colleagues in the U.S. Congress. So I think that'd be very difficult for him to be able to unify the party. And, of course, we know how caustic Donald Trump is with the establishment. So I think it's going to be very difficult for how do you actually unify the party, bring along some of those moderate Republicans going forward. And in the case of Donald Trump, can you bring along some of the conservatives? Because what you see taking place right now, particularly between Donald Trump and Ted Cruz, there's a fight between the conservatives, which are solidly in Ted Cruz's corner, and the populists, which are in Donald Trump's corner. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see, if they can actually unify the party, but I think it's going to be very difficult going forward. Now, keep in mind, if Hillary is the nominee, we do know how polarizing she is, so she could very well be a unifying factor just of the GOP in and of herself.
Right. Everybody comes together to fight Hillary Clinton, for sure.
Exactly.
And we could be watching the remaking of the Republican Party, and it may come out of this stronger than ever, too. So you never know which way this is going to go. Eric Ham, thanks so much for joining us, and we appreciate it, and keeping us in touch with what's going on there in Washington and all the things that you're writing about.
Thank you so much. Great to be with you guys.
All right, thank you so much.